Anonymous attendee asks, "Is this the JavaScript meeting?" No, this is the one that we're in right now is the Python one. In the Zoom chat, I believe Joe has sent out the JavaScript link, so that is how we're organizing these.
Yep. So if you're looking to catch the JavaScript one, catch us back around 1 p.m. and we'll be starting it then. But anyway, let's get started with today. All right. Let me just share my screen. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everybody. We are glad to see a lot of you guys returning back to the third week of the Python and the whole Tech Bytes session on this virtual type of online thing. So we really appreciate you guys coming out, and we got a lot in store for you guys today.
Right, for the agenda, we are making it a little shorter today, a bit of a smaller lesson. We will be discussing functions. We will be discussing if-thens. And then we will be talking about making a small game.
We're going to be combining those skills. All right. So firstly, today we're going to start off with a little bit of terminology. And if, in case you attended last week's JavaScript session, you already have a sort of a foundation of what these ideas are. But we have not covered these specific terms with you guys on the Python session. So today we want to get started off by going over the terms. And the first term being, what are functions? Now, I'm assuming that most of you guys were during the JavaScript session, but we still want to give a little bit of a quick overview and remind you guys that functions are like those routines. They hold a lot of your code, and they're a way to simplify and abstract your code to do things in a more efficient manner. Now, Andrew and I always provide analogies to what are these terms in real life? Well, think about functions being like your morning routine or like your nightly routine. Something which you repeatedly do or something which you do in order to get something to occur is a good way to put it. And since we all looks like we have everybody who was here last week, I'm not going to go too much into here because I want to get started with some of the cool things we're going to do today. But feel free to drop a question, any comments in the comment chat section as always, and Andrew and I will be happy to help you.
Right, so we're going to talk about what an if statement is. Yep. So think of it like you're telling the computer to perform a task, but a lot of the times when you want to perform a task, you're going to have some type of condition that is met. Think about it like, say, a routine like your parents telling you to clean your room. It would be a little weird if you were to be told to clean your room if it's already spotless, right? So that's why for computers, if we wanted them to run certain tasks, we usually want some type of condition to be met. If you wanted to say set an alarm, if you had some type of voice assistant, you say something like Siri, set an alarm for when I wake up. You were doing that because you have that condition. Sorry, you have a condition of what time it is, and then when that condition is fulfilled, it will run the task, which is usually alarming you. If you wouldn't, for instance, have an alarm go off when it isn't time to wake up, say in the middle of the day. So that is why you would want a condition in your software.
Yep. Now we will be diving more in deep and what this if and else statement actually means. But since this is more of an introductory course with Python, we're not going to be going to the nitty and gritty. But if you like to go more into the details, join us in the JavaScript session, where Andrew and I will be going a bit more in detail, comparing actual code as well. So, but for now, we want to watch a quick video.
Hold on, there's someone who asked a question. Okay. Anonymous attendee asks, I meant Python. Do you need further clarification on that, the difference between the meetings, or did we already satisfy that question earlier?
Let me mesh this. So all the Python sessions, in case I believe this is your first time being here. Okay, yeah. So the Python sessions are more like an introductory course, which we go over while the JavaScript sessions are a bit more advanced, we discuss more details. And this is the third week of the third week of the Python session. Does that answer your question?
All right, good to know.
It's not working.
All right, I think we can watch that video.
All right. So here's a quick video discussing what are these if-else statements, and let's relate it to real life. So let's watch and enjoy for a minute.
This is a conditional block. The code inside a conditional block runs if a condition is true. In puzzles with conditionals, we might want to check a condition like if path ahead. This code will only move forward if there is a path ahead. You can use conditionals in lots of different ways, like this or this. What if you want something else to happen if a condition is false? You can use an if-else block for that. This code will move forward if there is a path ahead. Otherwise, it will turn left. Your code will either move forward or turn left, but never both. This is helpful if you want your code to make decisions based on certain conditions. Here are some more ways you can use conditionals in if-else blocks.
All right, thank you, Rayon, for that video. Can we go to the next slide?
Yeah.
We will be applying what we learned with if statements in a quick quiz game. Just to clarify, Rayon, we are just doing the number guessing game, but without the for loop, right?
We're just gonna make like a basic quiz, like you add one to the score, like one question using if else.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So we sort of sped through if else, but we didn't want to get too much in depth to it. But basically, we hope that you guys understood the idea that if else statements only run if a condition is being met. And if I can try something right here. Okay, this is not going to work. All right, never mind about that. But yeah.
Someone just asked the question. Rayon, can you take that one?
Yeah, okay, so Neil is asking, do we have to make a game on our devices? Yeah, so what we recommend is that as we, learned concepts like variables, functions, and if-else statements, today we're going to start by combining all of these ideas into a mini project of a sort. And if need be, we can continue this throughout next week. But we would highly recommend that you guys make this alongside with us. So if you want to like split screen, you want to have the tab open in the top right, however you would like, so you can go with us. Does that make sense, Neil? All right, good. All right. So let me share my screen again. Okay, so if everybody can hop on back to our block coding website for Python, which we've been using for the past couple of weeks. And remember to hit the Python 3 mode.
Hold on, I think someone made a comment on the classroom.
Oh.
Let me just double check.
It is not connecting.
Okay.
What is not connecting? Like our Zoom call, your
Matthew. Right. So here's that she's not in the attendees list. So there is someone trying to get into the call. but does not have access. So let us see if we can. How about you deal with that right now? Like answer Neil's question real quick. You don't have the website. So for our class, we will be keeping track of materials. We will be keeping track of files, etc. Various content, various questions that we can list. Called the Google Classroom. We'll give you a link to the Google Classroom right now.
Yeah, let me open that slide up real quick. Yeah.
Let me put it into the chat for anyone who does not have access.
Here is the classroom code once again, guys. Looks like we have one new person today, so please join.
Yes, and
all right. So I'll give you guys a minute. Here is the website URL.
Okay, Sadan asks in the Q&A, do you have the name of the website? Once more, we will just be typing that into the chat. I think that will probably be the easiest way.
It's the same website, guys, which we've been using for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm just like doing this for the people who probably knew. So.
Yep.
Right. Hopefully we will be on the right track and we will be good to make that a game.
Yeah.
Of course, if someone's having trouble, I can always post the link if you're not able to find it on Google. So, yeah.
Yep. So Sadan, do you have the link now?
Come on, there's another in the Q&A.
All right. So here is the website on the screen, which you probably see. If you want to type that URL in, and if everybody could comment in this chat section if they are in the website, and then we'll begin combining our topics.
Yeah. If you have access to the class, oh, okay. Sharia has access. We are getting some people who are saying that they are in. So just to clarify, we do have two websites, one for coding with Python blocks, and we have one from the classroom. Can we get anyone who does not have access to both to say, or at least comment that they don't have access so that we can assist you?
I feel like everybody is good.
Okay, good.
One thing in the Q&A real quick looks like.
Oh, Neil says he does not have access. So
okay, Neil, let me type in the website URL in the chat for you. And Neil, please be also sure to join the Google Classroom. For the past 2 weeks, we've been posting a lot of content over there. So if you want to catch up and see what's been going on. Neil, are you good now? All right, great. So let's open up the website. As always, we're using Python 3 version. And let's start combining everything we've learned in the past couple of weeks. So we want to make a quiz game. And basically what we wanted to do is ask us maybe 5 questions, and we use if-else statements to determine if we are answering the question correctly, and then maybe make it nicer and have some nice print statements to show us our score, and have variables, which we talked about last week, and variables which contain values, and manipulate those variables throughout the game. So whenever we start a coding project or anything, we're always like, whoa, we have a really big project in front of us, but where do we start? Like, there's so many different aspects. And you have to think about what is the most simplest thing which you can accomplish without needing to go online, without needing to ask for help. Start small and then get big is the main idea. And Andrew, feel free to even though I'm screen sharing, just feel free to say anything,
All right. So, just like I'm just mostly accommodating for people such as Neil who have not been have access to the previous lessons. So, for just to clarify what variables are, we will be using them to, in this context, to store values like, say, answers or possible answers that we will be having in this sort of game, if I'm correct on that, Rayon.
Yep, definitely. Hitting the nail on the head. And Neil, you're in luck because, man, we've been recording our sessions on YouTube. So once you join the Google Classroom, if you feel free to click the link, we post our YouTube link every week. Feel free to watch the sessions over again, and we go much more in depth with some nice examples. And you discuss the yin and yangs as well. So you'll have a nice time watching everything on our YouTube channel. So feel free to watch that as well.
Oh, you have some experience before. That is nice to hear.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right. Hopefully it'll come in hand now. All right. So if everybody has split screen, let's start actually thinking about how we're going to code this game. So let's think about what the main aspects of this game are. It's a quiz game, right? So think about like a quiz which we've taken in English class or your math class or whatever class you are in currently. Basically what happens is that there's a question which we respond to, and then somebody, like a teacher, evaluates it. But in this case, it's going to be the computer, and we're going to apply our if-else statements to now actually making a game. So let's start off by, let's start off by creating a variable for the first question. So let's name our variable first question. And let's drag and drop that variable so we can assign a value to it on the platform. Now, we want this variable to be a prompt. We want it to ask us a question. But right now, it's just holding a value of a numerical value of 0, which really isn't what we're looking for. So now we need to find a way for the computer to ask us so that we can input a string or like a word, essentially. So I believe that is in, if everybody can head on over to statements, and we can go to the input and drag and drop it in here. So now, what is this actually doing? Well, this is telling us that, well, first, how about we change the input? It'll make more sense. So let's say we want to make a, how about a, what type of quiz game? Andrew, give me a topic.
Let's do, like similar to our the program trivia, and we'll say something like, we'll start simple for now. What is a tomato a fruit?
Okay, so let's type any question. Now, guys, this could be any question you want. Andrew and I are just, having a little bit of fun here and adding our own questions, and we'll hit enter. Now, let me explain what this is actually doing, guys. We have the variable first count, and we're telling that variable that whatever the user inputs in response to the question, store that value into the variable. So now, how about I run this and show you what actually happens? Now, see, the computer is asking us, what is a tomato? It's asking us the prompt, and whatever value I write in here, that this value of a fruit is going to be stored into the variable first question. And if everybody's understanding, and if you're at all confused at any point throughout the development of this game, as always, feel free to drop a chat. We'll answer those questions. But it looks like everybody is on board understanding it. So now let's move on to the evaluation phase now. Now, we got the computer to ask us the question. Now we got to evaluate the answer which we put in. So anybody have any ideas on what we will be using? We'll give a hint. We covered it in today's lesson to evaluate if the user is putting in the correct or incorrect response. So we'll give you guys a minute. Let's see who can get it first. What topic we'll be using? Oh, great, Sadan and Izan. Great job, man. You guys pretty speedily. Wow, nice. Exactly. So their response, guys, was an if-else statement or an if statement, which is exactly hitting the nail on the head, because that's how we are going to evaluate if the user's putting in, like say they're putting in a wrong, like say put in a vegetable or a fruit. So how about we head over to our logic, drag and drop the if block, and now here, we're gonna evaluate the statement. So we're going to go on back to our variable, drag it and drop it.
I think you have to go to logic.
Oh.
Yeah, that.
Here we go, yep.
Okay,
and
cool.
then we'll drag and drop our variable into there. And then if our variable, now this is a little bit debated, we're gonna say it's a fruit. Is the
It's
right
a fruit. It's a fruit. It has seeds.
So we'll say that a tomato, the right answer is that it's a fruit. And then how about we add like a little quick print statement to see if this is actually working. And then we'll put correct answer right here. And now we got the if block. Now this if block is evaluating if we are putting in the correct answer. But what if we're putting in the wrong answer? Andrew, you want to go through what we are going to add now?
Well, you see, if we write the wrong answer, of course, the correct answer, the print statement will not execute. It will not perform. But typically, programmers will have an alternative if block, usually in the form of an else or an if. Rand, would you like to demonstrate that?
Yeah. So basically, guys, you're noticing that there are two else blocks here. There's one which is a funny name called an elif, and there's one which is called an else. Now, the difference between these two is that you use an elif when you have multiple if-elses, like there's multiple scenarios which can occur, while use an else when there's only like a binary answer. Either this is going to happen or either this. So in our case, there's only two answers. It's either you get it right, it's a fruit, or else you're wrong. So we can just use the else block, and then we'll just print right here that you got the wrong answer. So any questions up to this point? Okay, look, it looks like everybody's good. All right, so how about we run this and see if it's doing what we actually wanted to do. So let's hit the run button. The computer is asking us, what is a tomato? And let's put in the right answer and say it's a fruit. And voila, the computer evaluated our response and told us that we put the correct answer. Now, we can use this exact idea and essentially emulate this throughout more and more questions. And we can, so let's add more questions. And before we do that, so now we've incorporated the one topic of our if-else statements. It looks like we got a question. 1 second. Salan is asking, what do I put into the if statement?
Okay, so I can actually answer this. Whenever you have the if statement, what you should do is that you should put something called logic operator. You will see this in the logic tab, and you'll see usually there's this little block with the equal sign, just like two double bars, if you want to think of it that way, and you will see that. Tell me if you get it soon so we can get that feedback.
Okay, Arnav is asking a quick question of how do we get the input. So Arnav, you head on over to statements, go a bit down. We add this input, which asks us to enter a response.
And just so you know, you're able to run the program correctly, right, Arnav? As in, like, able to like press the run button and it like turns out correctly. Okay, so if you do not see the run button, I suggest you press the 3-bar sort of menu button. It's different on Rayon's screen, which is unfortunate if you're using a different screen aspect ratio. So you will need to press. Could you demonstrate this, Rayon, by changing the width of the?
Yep. So say I make this a bit smaller. So now we got to hit these 3 bars and then hit the run button.
Yeah, so it's just a little quirk of the website, but hopefully, yes, you got it, Neil. So
you got it, great. All right. So as I was saying, that we've incorporated our if-else statements into our game, but we should incorporate the idea of using more variables. And remember how I said that we should keep track of our score potentially and how well we're doing? Well, let's do that. So let's make another variable and let's call it score. There we go. And we'll initialize it. At the top, we'll add the statement telling the computer that the value of our score is 0 at the beginning of the game. And now we're going to change the value of this variable as the game goes along. So we'll take our score variable. We'll drag and drop it to when we have a correct answer. We'll change the equal sign to a plus equal, which means, hey, can you add this value onto the variable? And we'll change it to, how about 10 points for every time we get the right answer. And then we'll say, hey, can you maybe take away 5 points for every incorrect answer? And I deleted those the print statements, so if you want to keep those, they're probably a good way to make sure that we're doing this correctly.
All right, and I guess we should probably be discussing what our second question should be. Now, in order to demonstrate the LFs, I believe that we should probably have a question with more than one answer. So,
definitely.
Does anyone in the chat want to give an example of something that can be 2 things at once? A tomato, for instance, can only be a fruit to some people, but it can also be red. It can also have a green stem. Of course, that's harder to word into a question into a program. But does anybody have suggestions like that?
Okay, so how about we say, what is a summer month? A month of summer. There are multiple answers to that. So let's do that. So let's create another variable, guys. Create variable. We'll call this variable second question. We'll drag and drop it right here. We're going to use the same logic. Head on over to statements. Get the input because we're going to be asking a question. But now the question will be, what is a summer month? Or actually, how about name a summer month is a better question. Yeah. Now, there are multiple answers to what somebody considers a summer month. It could be May, June, July, August, September. So there's a bunch of different answers, which means we're going to have to use else. So let's head on over to logic. Use the first if statement and enter our block, but this time we're going to be using our second question. And the first response which the computer is going to evaluate and say is, hey, okay, so the user put in a value. So what is the summer month? Say they put in June, that's the summer month. And we'll now add a elif because there's multiple scenarios which can work. So now we'll just copy and paste this, this condition. So say, oh, always guys, also don't forget the quotation marks because this is a string. So June,
So to clarify, a string is, I guess, like for lack of a better term, a string of characters, if you want to put it that way.
Yep, so June, July, and then August. So we'll say that these three are the correct answers. And then we'll simply use an else statement to say any other answer is going to be incorrect. And we'll add that right here. I'll give you guys a quick moment to catch up and ask any questions. Is everybody understanding and going along fine?
Okay, some questions we just got. Can you zoom in the code?
Sure.
Another question by, I believe the name is Smita. You're going to have to tell me if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Asks how to do the months. Do you mean the question generally, or do you mean for the specific answer choices, like June, July, August?
Block? This specific block right here, the second question? Okay, so yeah. So what we're going to do is that we first made that variable, right? We created that variable, and then we're going to drag and drop this second question block right here. And then we go on over to statements, drag and drop the input to right here into the block, this statement right here. Let us know, Smita, if that works. Oh, the green block, so you mean the if-else statements. Then we head on over to logic, drag the if block to right here. Then, yeah, and then we head on over to our variables, drag and drop the statement being evaluated. Oh, 1 second.
So the logic.
There we go. Yep. Logic. We drag and drop that. Go to variables once again. Drag our variable, which we want to evaluate. And then we can write whatever response we want here. Like that.
Make sure you have the quotation marks as they are important for specifying it is a text answer.
Yep. Does that help, Smita? Great.
Good to know.
All right. So for today's session, we're going a bit over today, but Andrew, should we continue this game next week as well?
I think that just to close it off for now, we should probably at least get the second question running. So
Yep.
can we just like instantiate the
Yeah.
score tally?
Yep. Okay, so guys, once we we know that June, July, and August are the right answers, right? So then we can just add the score to increase once the condition of the correct answer has been met, like so. And then we'll add the statement of decrease the score by 5 points if we answer the question incorrectly. Now, let me just run this really quickly to show how good our score variable is doing. So what is a tomato? We'll put the right answer. Correct. Now say we put the wrong answer. What is the summer month? Say we put January. Oh, we only got 5 points because we got 10 points for the right answer from this question, but then minus 5 points from the wrong answer of this question. Showing you it's all working fine. So we will be posting this whole code block, guys, to the Google Classroom as well, if you have any further questions. But for next week, what we want you guys to do is make your own quiz. Test around some of the other commands available. And please upload a photo to the Google Classroom. We'll create an assignment folder to and we'll share some of the best quizzes next week, see how you guys fiddle around with them. But today
there's a quick question I'm sorry, I can't read that. I refuse.
Funny joke, man. But this is optional, guys. By any means, don't think that we're forcing this upon you guys. But yeah, give it a try. Try some of your own questions. We'll post a code in a little bit, so you guys can fiddle around with it as well. But that is pretty much it for this session. Just give me 1 second. So yeah. So our goal for next week is we want you guys to make your own quiz, try some of your own answers, and post it to the Google Classroom. And then we'll do a little bit of show and tell next week, and we'll make a new game with some new concepts. And then it looks like we got another Q&A. Andrew, you want to take a look at
that? Yes. Somebody asking bye with a lot of Y's. Would you like to?
I believe she's asking by when. So please, in the next week, by next Wednesday, if you can make your own thing, make your own quiz game. We'll post the code right now, so you have a base template. But other than that, we hope that you guys had a little bit more fun today. We started doing some more advanced block coding, learned some more nice concepts. And other than that, if you guys don't have any questions, we hope you guys had a good time. If you want, join us for the JavaScript session. I'm Rayan, and
I'm Andrew. So
yeah, and we'll catch you guys on next week's one. Take care. See ya.
See you all next time.